appears to be magnified, larger than life itself. And it is no different with those things that bring us sorrow. These too are magnified in our minds and our hearts. For all the joy of the holidays and family festivities that are present to lift us up, there seems to be in equal measure a memory or a fear or a loss from long ago at this time of year, or something more recent which prevents that joy from rising up within us. And there is a tension between our expectations and what is really happening on the ground. We have this sense of what is supposed to be, how we are supposed to feel, what our gatherings are supposed to look like, sound like, based on some imagined story we've accepted from times long past, or how we think others are experiencing the season. And yet, we just don't feel it. When we gather, it doesn't look so picture perfect. The tone is off. And so we wrestle with that push-pull in our hearts and minds. Sometimes it might seem like we would be better off if we didn't have to go through this ritual every year. Can't we just sit this one out? We are all grieving so much right now. Some have shared their personal experiences of it. Anniversaries of deaths haunt us, clouding our view. Our very broken world is weighing heavy on all of us. So much violence and destruction and loss of life, not to mention the impact on our earth home. And all around us, folks are singing about joy and peace and love, about a holy accompaniment for our days, about the coming of light into the darkness. When we are stuck in our grief, those things can feel like an affront, and we can begin to feel like we should be acting differently. So we judge ourselves, and a sense of shame can begin to insert itself. But the truth is that there is no shame in grieving the hard stuff. We would not be human if we didn't. And we don't necessarily want to be cheered up. I think we want to be accepted as we are without having to pretend otherwise. It is nice to simply have our grief acknowledged. It is incredibly loving to honor the reality that someone may not even know what they want or need, and to just be available to them. We don't want to be kept busy or distracted so that we can forget. The only way is through. To be laughed with and cried with. We can embrace our grieving as a guest during this time of the year. And so we have come together today. We have made this space for one another, and we hold one another's truths, release our own truths in this place of safety and sacredness made so by our presence here. Bell Hooks wrote that the light of love is always in us, no matter how cold the flame. It is always present, waiting for the spark to ignite it, waiting for the heart to awaken. Sharon Salzberg comments that it might not feel like that light of love is always there, but it is an innate capacity, she says. There is power in the coming together of community where we hold love in such high regard, foundational to who we are. May we be that presence for each other which warms the heart and spirit, which says, I see you, I hear you, I love you. Would you join me now in prayer? These words from Jan Richardson. You had hardly thought your heart could be so claimed and so willingly. Now the heart that gave itself with such gladness finds itself stunned by its anguish, abandoned and inhabited, all at the same time, by the absence that has gathered itself to you. It will astonish you how grief comes with such purpose to undo us, to unmake us, with tools fashioned so exactly to its terrible art. How with such precision they are fitted for the rending and flaying, tearing, unstitching, unmooring, unhinging, undoing of us. It is hard to see from here how these tools are the same ones that will make us again. This time with an aching slowness, a painful pace, so measured we will hardly perceive it when it begins to happen. The joining that comes piece to piece in a pattern that will never be the same, but will leave us inexplicably whole.